when did you put out your first video?
So it's crazy. Me and my videographer were just talking about it. We said we put out our video 8 months ago, I think now.
Okay.
About to hit 2K subs, so not
Let's
even within
go.
a year. That's pretty solid for us. My goal was 1,000, so like just showing you where I was shooting for. It's already well over that. But I think like you said, relationships are key, and when you know a lot of people and people support you, that happens really quick. So
I love it. So you're 8 months into it. What do you think you've learned from creating content around like the importance of like, what have you learned from like doing it, and maybe like you said, the relationship piece of it? What other opportunities have you seen from creating content? What have you learned in those 8 months?
So the first thing that comes to mind when you say, what has it done really for you? Like one of the biggest things is we have a lot of show people reach out to us. Hey, are you coming to our show? We'd like you to come to the show so you can shoot some content, so they can not only support you, but then you support them, and you can film their show and show it to the world, and 6,000-7,000 people watch it. Now you maybe have a couple more customers coming in through the door through their show. So I really like that people want to be around you, right? Like people do respect what you're doing and love watching it. And people come up to you and say, "Hey, we enjoy your content," and stuff like that. That feels good for sure. I guess, what was the question you were asking me at the beginning? You said
just around like, what have you learned around the content, relationships, other opportunities you've seen, just kind of, in 8 months, what would you say you've learned about the content game?
Yeah, learn a ton from the start. Like it was definitely different. You have to realize when you're talking to the camera, you're not just talking to a camera and your dude that you're hiring to film you. You're talking to an audience of 6,000-7,000 people every time for me at this point. And that was the hardest part that I think I had to learn, is like you are putting on a show, so you have to interact with it, you have to talk, you have to basically be yourself. That's one thing I've also learned, is be yourself. I think that's one of the most important things I've learned from it in terms of that, because what people see in front of the camera is what they get away from the camera. So I'm about as nice as it gets on the camera. That's because that's how I was raised, and that's the same thing I do outside of the camera. So you see me at a restaurant afterwards, you talk to me, it'll be the same thing you would expect on the camera. Obviously dealing cards, but yeah.
I think the authenticity piece is huge. Not trying to play a part, like being that person on and off camera, I think is crucial. What do you think is, I'm trying to think of the right way to word this, like around like the content piece, knowing what you know now, like any like major things stand out from like now versus the beginning, like in terms of like a tip, a trick, a piece of advice, anything around that you've really like taken to heart over the last 8 months?
I think the thing I learned from the start to now, for sure, I just talked about this the other day. I said the best content is the one that's posted, and what I mean by that is, early on I was so worried about what it looked like and how it was, and it wasn't a great show. People don't care. People want to watch your content. So like, posting it is the first step. And if you're getting involved in content, I know a lot of people do it now. That's one of the reasons I got into it. I thought it was cool. Thought I wanted to do it. I buy a lot of cards. People like to watch the stuff I buy. So I was like, it'll be good. But one of the biggest things is I would always go watch the videos back and like, don't put that part in there. Or, this wasn't a great show. Let's not post this. I think understanding that any post is a good post right now, especially if you're just starting, because it's not going to be your best work when you first start, and that's for sure. And I think that's in anything you do. So definitely learning to just go with it, and any content that you can post is good content.
Yep. Yeah, I love that advice. I think I would say something similar. I mean, I think the consistency thing is key, right? Like understanding that you're playing the long game for a couple of reasons. One, that like you said, your content now is not going to be your best content 5 years from now, but also understanding that like it takes time, right? Like you said, your goal was 1,000 subscribers. You're at 2,000, right? And we'll sit down and do an interview, down the line, and you'll be at 200,000, right? And just understanding that like when you're doing something that you want to last a lifetime, it just takes a lot longer than you might anticipate. But don't let that discourage you from starting. Brian and I have had a lot of conversations around this. Like we had debated this for a long time. I mean, it's been a year plus since I had done anything on Card Talk and recorded any episodes, and it was like, oh well, we didn't have this, and Brian and I, we talked about it all the time, and it just eventually at some point you just have to start and realize that you'll figure it out as you go. That's the thing is, Brian and I didn't have some master plan when he started. It wasn't like we're gonna do this and then execute this, and it's just like we want to film a couple cool videos. I think we've got some cool stuff. I love cards. And I think that's the other thing is like when you're passionate about it, it's a lot easier. Like when you're not trying to like perform,
Right.
you're just like, hey, I'm just buying and selling cards and just showing you what I do and how I do it. I think it's a lot easier.
For sure. And I think one thing you said early on that kind of hit me right when you said it, because it was definitely one of the things I saw early on is like, I got discouraged really. Like I thought I was going to be like 1 million views instantly. That doesn't happen. And when I posted my first video, I was on the phone with my videographer like, dude, I don't know if we should do this again. I was like, this only had like 100 views in an hour. And I'm like, this isn't great. So definitely learning from that. And you have content that you post, and you guys probably do as well. Content that you post that you're like, oh, this is going to be great. And it doesn't do as well.
Bombs.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like, that's some things I've learned. I just told my videographer the other day, I said day 2 of the Pittsburgh show was probably our worst video, and it's done the best recently. So again, I think learning from that early on and understanding like not every video is going to do 1 million views.
For sure.
But like I said, going back to what I said earlier, just posting it is a start. So
yeah, Brian and I had that conversation a lot that, this video, it's going to crush.
Yeah.
So it's going to crush. And it tanks.
And
You're
it
like,
tanks, yeah.
what? Like, you change thumbnails and titles, and you change so much, and you're like, oh, this video just not meant to be. And then there's some videos like, you're like, this video, like, show vlog should do 25K, and that's what we hope to get out of this one, views, and it'll do like 50. I think, was it one of the Philadelphia videos recently? There was a video we posted recently that we're like, just an average, okay video, like shouldn't be anything too crazy. And I think it was the first show vlog we had posted in a while, and it like, is it the busiest day ever at a card show? Is that what it was? Yeah. And I think the Philly one before that was pretty, was it the Philly one before that? There was like a Dallas video or a Philly video we posted. Yeah, the before and after. Yeah, right there. Because we had talked about that thumbnail. Brian and I had talked about this thumbnail at the show because we started the Philly show with a really big deal with my guy Ty, and it filled up like 3/4 of a whole Zion case, and we had talked about it. We're like, this video could do okay. This thumbnail could be cool. It's a 71K views, and that's a solid.
Right.
I feel pretty good about that from like a show perspective. And that's the thing is like, but again, like, I think your point is so fair. Like, don't want those things discourage you. Like, sometimes it's gonna go your way, and sometimes it's not. But ultimately, like, goes back to the point I said earlier. Like, the learning is the value for us at this point. Like, understanding, hey, why we don't buy this, or why we post it this way, or why we use this thumbnail, why we use this text, or why we buy this card. Like, I think that's the big thing. Is like, if you're learning and trying to get better, just keep posting. Like, eventually you'll figure some things out, and it will take time.
Yep, couldn't agree more.
All right, as I wrap it up here, I want to end the podcast with a question. I'm going to try to ask this to every guest that I, hopefully have on here. It's, you've done this for a little while now. You've seen highs, you've seen lows, wins and losses. You got more into the content game. You've learned a lot in 5+ years. If you were starting over today, what would be one piece of advice you would give yourself?
Just be patient. I think that's the biggest thing. It's like we were talking about earlier with the content. Be patient. Not everything grows overnight. I started with this is funny. You'll like this story. I started right around COVID.
Yep. So
I was just like taking money from my own account, buying some cards, hanging on to them, and I was like, when I sold that one card for like $2,000, I was like, I think I could do this a lot more. I could buy more. So I gave myself $1,000. I was like, I'm gonna go make $1,000. I Grubhubbed $1,000, and I was like, I'm gonna take this and only spend it on cards. And then my wife was like, stop taking money out of the account. You're spending $300, $400 on these cards off eBay and buying them and just keeping them. She's like, they're just sitting in a case. So I took $1,000 of my own money, opened my own bank account for the card account. I call it my card account, and it started from there. So not everyone one of my content pieces is like spending $77,000 only on case hits. I didn't have $77,000 to start.
Yeah.
So like being patient and learning that I started with $1,000 and spent 3-4 years buying, flipping, making $5, making $2, losing money, making 50, making 100. I think one thing I tell myself is just to be patient, because it does come. And I think when most people reach out to me, ask me, what should I buy? How should I do this? I think the thing I tell them most of the time is be patient, because it doesn't grow overnight. It definitely doesn't. I'm learning that with YouTube. I figured it would grow really quickly. It has, but not like
Yeah.
I'm very competitive. I like to do well in everything I do, and that hasn't grown like I would like it to. But I'm gonna keep continuously do it because I enjoy cards and just being patient with myself and learning the ins and outs. You're gonna lose, you're gonna win, and just being patient with myself in that game too. So
I love it. Yeah, I think that's good advice. It's definitely advice that's probably pretty spot on to what I would tell people. Tell myself is it takes time, but I think that's one thing that I respect so much about you is you're super open minded in this. Like you understand that it's not going to happen overnight. You're learning. You got your head on your shoulders. You're as someone I consider a great friend. You know what you're doing and you're doing it the right way. So. Yeah, I love that advice.
Yeah.
Now, if people want to check you out on Instagram, social, where can people find you?
Yeah, Shannon's Cards on Instagram and YouTube. We're on TikTok as well, so just started that up.
Now, how do you like TikTok? I know we're gonna close this, but how do you? I gotta know. How do you like TikTok?
I don't run it, so I like it a lot more. I have to deal with a lot of
stuff.
stuff.
Shout out to Brian, he posts ours.
So my guy Tyler does all our stuff, does all the cool edits. He's actually the star. I just am on film. He does all that stuff for me. So I don't mind it because I don't have to deal with it, but it's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
You get some interesting comments.
Oh, yeah.
You get some interesting comments. You get some bots. You get all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And so forth. So yeah, I don't mind it. I think it's helped me grow in terms of YouTube as well.
For sure.
It's just so like you have YouTube Shorts. Most people are on there watching full length videos on YouTube.
Yep.
Shorts for sure are definitely on TikTok, and that's where people see me and they reach out via TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it may be. But yeah, it's helped us grow for sure.
Yeah, I think Brian and I were pretty early on TikTok as a way to post, and I say this a lot, like where people would come up at shows and be like, "Hey man, love the YouTube videos, love the podcast." Back when I was doing Card Talk, I got a lot of those comments, but a lot more recently. I would imagine it's 50-50 split now, where a lot of people are like, love the TikTok videos.
Yeah.
And it's just the full length videos broken down into deals. Like we'll occasionally do like a 1-card mail day or like a pack opening, a box opening. But yeah, TikTok, man, I know I'm on there a lot watching stuff. So yeah, it's cool. Like same thing with the content though. You'll have a video be like, this should get, 50K views on TikTok and get 450, and you have some videos that'll explode. Like when we did a little Shipshawana ad read, like a Shipshawana, like, hey guys, we're gonna come to Shipshawana's coming up, check it out. Like that video crushed, and it's always the ones you don't expect. But I think TikTok is fun, so I'm always curious when people like, hey, I post on TikTok.